Hello everyone, welcome to my classroom. I'm Neetu Ann Thomas, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, SNIT Adur. I've been teaching you principles of management.
Good morning, all. Welcome to the next session of Principles of Management, Module 1. Talking about the introduction to management, the definitions, the perspectives of management, that is the art and science perspective in our previous class. And today we're going to learn about the characteristics of management, right? Firstly, when I talk about the characteristics, the first characteristic is it is multidisciplinary in nature. So what do you mean by multidisciplinary? That is, it is various disciplines like psychology, sociology, human societies, etc. Right, so it has received a rich contributions from all these disciplines. And the insights obtained from these disciplines greatly help managers in understanding human minds much better. That is, these managers would have gained experiences from all these different disciplines and they'll be well aware of the human minds. That is why it is called multidisciplinary in nature. That is, management is not a thing that is used only in one discipline. In all disciplines that we go or all disciplines that we see, management will be a major factor. That is, without management, we cannot go on with an organization properly. Right? So that is why in all areas, that is, in all disciplines, this management is actively emerging. Right. Secondly, it is a continuous process. So why it is called as a continuous process? Because it continues till the set objectives are achieved, right? So it is a very distinct activity and it will change according to the environment or the competitions in the market or the new problems that has been coming up. This management changes, but it doesn't stop, right? So it is a very continuous process. So one after the other, there is a process of management that has been continued. So there's a cycle of management. So that's a never ending process and it continues as long as the organization continues to operate. So once the organization stops or closes down, the management also stops. So until and unless the organization is working, this management functions is also working. That is why it is called a continuous process. It is called a universal activity. Why it is called a universal activity? Because all types of organizations such as religious, political, social, or even government or universities have these principles that is being followed. The basic principle of management are applicable in business as well as other organizations. So these principles need careful applications depending upon the situation demands. So according to situation, it changes as we said earlier. And also it is a universal entity because it is applicable throughout the world in all disciplines. Right, that is why it is called universal. Fourthly, management is called a science as well as art. So this point, as we discussed earlier, why it is called as science? Because it has gathering data, it is analyzing factor in it, and there is a decision making process that is being happening after the analysis. And why it is called an art? Because it is the application of the skill or the knowledge that you have. So that is why it is called both science as well as art, right? Fifthly, it is dynamic in nature. What does dynamic mean? Dynamic means it is a very speedy thing. That is, it doesn't stays at a place. So it is continuously moving or it is continuously changing. So it is a growth oriented function. So it tries to visualize problems before they turn into emergencies and take suitable steps. So it is not when an emergency situation comes that they go for a decision making, but well in advance, you visualize all these problems and find a solution for this. So it tries to adopt itself to the environmental changes quickly. That is why it is called dynamic. Okay. Sixthly, it is a profession. Why it is considered as a profession? Because there are certain set of rules and regulations or a management principles that has been involved and that has been followed in every organization. And it involves specialized training, right? Without training, you cannot go for management studies, and that is governed by some ethical codes arising out of social obligations. So it is considered as a profession because it has certain principles or a set of rules and regulations that is being followed that we study, right? So it is also called as a profession. Seventhly, it is a group activity. So, as I have mentioned earlier, management is something which involves group activity. So, if there is no group, there is no management or there is no efficiency for management. A person alone cannot control the whole organization. There are n number of people that are needed for carrying out a certain task. So as you can see, you people have this yearly once celebrations, right? Or technical contest that is being happening every year or every semester. So for that, you need a proper coordination. There is a coordinator for that. There are sub coordinators for that. For every event, you have one coordinators. So, until and unless you have n number of people to coordinate an activity, you cannot make it as successful, or it will not be a fruitful or efficient work. So, group activity is very important, or that is one of the key characteristics of management. It aims at obtaining wealthy results. That is, it assures productive performance through planning, directing, and controlling. So these are the functions that you can see for management. And because of these functions, they have wealthy results. That is, they provide training and guidance to employees so that they can make the best use of the available resources. So getting maximum result with the best utilization of resources within the minimum time. That is how you can get the wealthy result or the best result. Okay. Ninth, it implies skill and experience in getting things done through people. So as I've mentioned earlier, it is a group activity and it involves getting things done through people. That is, the people who are working in the organization are responsible for the profit or the loss of the organization. So the management should depend or the management should impose work on these people to get the maximum output done, right? So the skill and the experience they have or the people have will have a greater impact on the end result of a problem, right? So that is how people can work or the management is allowing people to do more work. That is, they are actually making the people of the organization responsible for whatever happens in the organization, either be it a profit or a loss, right? Tenthly, it is a system of authority. So, why it is called a system of authority? A manager is supposed to get things done rather than doing things himself. That is authority. Making the people do their work. So it has a standard set of rules and procedures that will be followed by the subordinates, and the subordinates are supposed to follow all these rules and regulations in the organization. So authority is the right to give orders to the subordinates, right? Right to give orders to the subordinates is called authority. So in this sense, management may be understood as a rule making and rule enforcing body in an organization. Yeah, you can call it that way also. Management is the rule maker in an organization, right? 11th, it is intangible. What does intangible mean? Intangible is nothing but you cannot see it with your naked eyes, but you can experience it. That is the simple meaning of intangible. So, why do you say management is intangible? Because it cannot be physically seen by its presence. It can be felt, right? It cannot be seen, but the how can it be felt at the end of the day or the at end of the period? You can have a positive result. So, based on the result or the effort taken up by the people in the organization, you go on with the experiencing of the management. So that is how management can be experienced by the result it gives at the end of the day, right? It can be felt by the result of its efforts in the form of production, sales, and profits. Okay. Now, lastly, it implies good leadership. So that is very clear. Managers obviously are good leaders. Until and unless managers are good leaders, they cannot forefront the organization. So they should have the ability to lead and get the desired course of action from the subordinates. That is.
So these are the 12 management characteristics or the nature of the management. Hope it is clear for you. That's all for the day. Thank you.